Hello, Frugivore. Welcome back to another episode. So today we are going to debunk this segment of the interview with the Diary of a CEO. This guy interviews a doctor, a cardiologist, Dr. Pradip Jamnadas, and he speaks about fruit, and he speaks about how it is basically junk food. Yes. So what we're going to do is go through it now because it is trending. I've had quite a few people ask me to do a reaction to this, especially about fatty liver and fruit. So it's time we got into it, right? So what I'm going to do is show the video just once in its entirety. It's like a reel, so it's quite short, and then I'm going to go through it and debunk it point by point. So let's watch it together for a beginning.
Is there any other watch out foods that people think are healthy, but maybe if I was trying to have an optimally healthy heart, I should avoid?
It's just going to surprise you. Excessive fruit. Because I'm not a very big follower of fruit. Fruit should be eaten only in season because there's too much fructose in it.
Fructose being the sugars.
Fructose is a sugar, and fructose causes fatty liver. So our overconsumption of fruit is another factor that is contributing to coronary artery disease and diabetes and fatty liver. And we think of fruit as being a healthy thing. But fruit should only be consumed really in the fall and in season and in small amounts, because that high fructose level really causes major changes in your metabolism. So I'm not too fond of fruit. You can eat fruit in season, small amounts of it. But people go crazy about fruit. I mean, I had a patient who was having mental problems as well as cardiovascular disease. And that's all he lived on is fruit. Morning, lunch, and dinner. And the moment we stopped that, his health changed completely. He got so much better.
Is there any other...
Okay, you heard it. Oh my goodness, that was so hard for me not to react to this absolute trash. Honestly, well, I'm about to react to it now, but I mean in the moment like that. So this guy, for a start, is out of his depth. He's a cardiologist. He is not an expert in human nutrition. He is an expert at cutting, sewing, and prescribing drugs. Okay, nutrition is not part of his toolkit. So he needs to stay in his own lane. In fact, there was a study not that long ago. The study is called A Deficiency of Nutrition Education and Practice in Cardiology. It's published by the American Journal of Medicine and authored by a dozen physicians and healthcare doctors, professionals in the United States and Spain. And so the findings of this study actually found that 90% of cardiologists reported receiving nothing or minimal nutrition education. I mean, you can just go to Google yourself. You can go to Google yourself and ask the question, how much nutrition education is a cardiologist given? This is a problem. This is why heart disease is still the number one killer. He is a heart expert, but he still doesn't understand the basics, the absolute basics. Their training is basically in repairing broken hearts surgically, not in preventing them nutritionally. Pradip, you need to stay in your lane and stick with the stents, the bypasses, the pacemakers. That's what you're an expert in doing. Cutting, sewing, drugging. Anyway, let's get into it. Everyone gets this wrong about fruit. That's what the title is. And let's debunk his claims.
Shout foods that people think are healthy, but maybe if I was trying to have an optimally healthy heart, I should avoid.
It's just going to surprise you. Excessive fruit. Because I'm not a very big follower of fruit. Fruit should be eaten.
Hang on. I'm not a very big follower of fruit. I mean, that's your personal preference. Not liking fruit isn't a reason to tell tens of millions of people not to eat it. So first up, this is just his personal preference, which we don't care about.
Eaten only in season because there's too much fructose in it.
Okay, so fruit should only be eaten in season. Wrong again. Humans evolved in equatorial regions where there was fruit all year round. I live in basically an equatorial region and we grow fruit. I should know I grow it here all year round and I eat it here all year round. Humans are scientifically classified as great apes. And what do great apes eat a lot of? Fruit. And what have humans evolved on for millions of years before modern society? Fruit. There's too much fructose in it. Okay.
Fructose being the sugars.
Fructose is a sugar, and fructose causes fatty liver.
God. Fructose causes fatty liver. All right. So the overwhelming evidence actually shows that fruit decreases the risk of fatty liver disease. All right, even if you just go to Google, okay, it's very easy. Anyone can just go to Google. All right. Fruit reduces fatty liver, PubMed. That's all I put in. Yes, multiple PubMed studies indicate that fruit consumption is associated with a reduced risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Recent meta-analysis and systematic review support this connection. So, and then you just scroll down. Fruit and vegetable intake and risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Our results indicate that increased consumption of vegetables and fruit is associated with a reduced likelihood of developing fatty liver. There's just so many studies. So this guy is just talking out his butt. But if you go and have a look at the obvious cause here, which is fat, like it's in the word, right? Fatty liver disease. It's like I've touched on this before. You don't say someone is like, oh, look how carb he is. Look how sugary he is. Look how sweet he is. People say, look how fat. Look how fat, because fat is the macro making people fat. Fat is the macro making livers fat. And if you just go to Google again, find studies that high-fat diets show high-fat diets cause fatty liver. Studies show excessive dietary fat leads to fat accumulation in the liver, even without significant weight gain, by altering metabolic pathways, promoting oxidative stress and potentially causing inflammation. And you just scroll down, ability of a high-fat diet to induce liver pathology, increased uptake of fat, such as through the ingestion of high-fat diet, can lead to fatty liver disease and metabolic syndrome. High-fat diet triggered non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I mean, look, all the opposite is there. So, hello, is this guy actually science-based? No, he clearly is not. He probably has an agenda. He's probably selling supplements. Let me know in the comments below if he's selling supplements or not.
So our overconsumption of fruit is another factor that is contributing to coronary artery disease and diabetes and fatty liver.
Yikes. Okay. Our overconsumption of fruit is contributing to all of these serious illnesses. Wrong again. Have you had a look at the actual statistics? People are eating less fruit than ever. The irony here is that the number one cause of death to humans globally has actually been proven to be not eating enough fruit. So hang on, what? He's saying that we're eating too much fruit. The overconsumption of fruit is causing the heart disease, or liver disease, type 2 diabetes. What is he talking about? What is he literally talking about? Okay, fructose, it's impossible for fructose to cause type 2 diabetes. Fructose doesn't even require insulin release in order to get into the cell. Only glucose does. Fructose has its own special entry via the portal vein into the liver, where it is stored as liver glycogen. So it's some backup fuel for you. It's perfect. It doesn't cause any of these illnesses, and there's no evidence that fruit is causing all these problems that he is claiming it is. I'm really, really shocked seeing it is like actually number one cause of death is not eating enough fruit.
And we think of fruit as being a help.
Yeah. Show us the stats, Pradip. Show us the stats that the overconsumption of fruit is causing all this illness. He can't, because he made it up himself.
Healthy thing. But fruit should only be consumed really in the fall and in season and in small amounts.
What?
Because that high fructose level.
Okay, here he goes with the seasonal rubbish again. If that was true, then chimpanzees would have the fattiest liver on earth, right? They're eating fruit all year round. No.
Level really causes major changes in your metabolism.
Oh, yeah, it does cause major changes, the ingestion of fructose and lots of fruit. You know what it does? It helped me lose over 40 pounds of excess fat. It helped me overcome hypothyroidism. It has helped me transform my life over the past 20 years as a high fruit eating, a fruit-based vegan. And I have blood tests as well. Do you have blood tests up, Pradip? I'd like to see them. So he's just pulling this out of who knows where, and he's not actually providing any evidence. And it's basically fear-mongering against humans' most perfect food, because we are frugivores. So we are a fruit-eating species. So we're meant to have a lot of fruit in our diets.
So I'm not too fond of fruit. You can eat fruit in season, small amounts of it.
You will not be telling me what I can and can't eat as a cardiologist with no nutrition education. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stay in the cut, sew, drug lane. That's what you're best at.
But people go crazy about fruit. I mean,
Have you wondered why? Because we're frugivores and we love fruit because, hello, we're meant to eat it.
I had a patient who was having mental problems as well as cardiovascular disease, and that's all he lived on is fruit.
Okay, so this is his anecdotal story, okay? Let's see your published studies on this. This is more fear-mongering. So, okay.
Morning, lunch, and dinner. And the moment we stopped that, his health changed completely.
Okay, this is just his anecdotal story. He's obviously proven himself to be full of it because he hasn't provided us with one bit of data to back up what he's saying. I've already showed you there's multiple studies supporting the fruit consumption and how it actually reduces your risk of all these serious diseases, and also how fatty liver is caused by excess fat. He's not providing us with any evidence of fruit being a problem.
But so much better.
Is there any?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm really revved up about this because I know personally, I've seen thousands and thousands of people thriving on a fruit-based diet over the course of many, many years. This ridiculous fructophobia, that's what I call it, is just out of control, isn't it? People everywhere, they're jumping on the wagon. Fructose is so bad for you. Fructose is like poison, basically. And the sad reality is it is so innocent. So these studies are done on people eating high-fat diets, okay? The population is eating more and more and more fat every year. The consumption of sugar, for instance, which contains fructose, has reduced by 30%. But the incidence of fatty liver disease, of type 2 diabetes, of obesity is skyrocketing. It's always going up. So that in itself is evidence that the fructose is not the cause of this fat issue. It is fat. Okay, and it's too much fat in the bloodstream, then glucose can't actually get into the cell properly. So then we have this glucose drag where the sugar is in the body too long. So it's in there for hours longer than it should be. And this can cause some metabolic issues, but it's not the sugar's fault. It's that there's excess fat gumming up the system. So you just take out that excess fat and then sugar can just get into the cell. Insulin is released. It helps sugar get into the cell and is absolutely no problem. If there was a problem, I would have type 2 diabetes by now, wouldn't I? I've worn a glucose monitor for 2 weeks and I've shown some of my results and it shows clearly that I have excellent blood sugar management. My average blood sugar was 5.2, 5.3. It was perfect. My estimated HbA1c was 5. So it's just the evidence is not backing up what he is saying. I'm showing in real time with that glucose monitor by pricking my finger and doing all those tests. I'm showing in real time that a fruit-based diet is actually very healthy. It is perfect for your blood sugar. You get a perfect spike and you come down. You don't have that elevated glucose delay, that glucose drag because of the excess fat, keeping it in the bloodstream and preventing sugar from going into the cell. And because people are on such high fat diets and they're laying down so much fat tissue, they're accumulating so much fat tissue, we now have this lipotoxicity where there's too much fat in the cells, in the pancreas, in the muscle cells, the liver, there's too much fat. So sugar can't actually be used properly. It's not getting a chance to actually get into the cell. It's being delayed. People can't, manage sugar properly because of this excess fat. Then we have the pancreas releasing too much insulin because of this fat clogging up the system and keeping the blood sugar raised. This is very, very sad that he is promoting such inaccuracies to his audience and he's actually encouraging people to eat less fruit. What sort of world are we living in where fresh, natural, beautiful, whole food like fruit is being demonized by doctors? This is a scary time in history. This is scary. And honestly, if you don't educate yourself on basic human physiology, then you are going to be taken for a ride. They're going to just drain your pocket. They're going to ruin your health. And they're just going to be smiling all the way to the bank, right? While they're exploiting this population and just doing it for their own selfish needs. usually to line their pockets, and it's very, very sad. Okay, so we got Clueless Ken here, and he has no idea whatsoever. It is obvious about human nutrition, and he is fear-mongering. Just remember, don't be sucked in by the snake oil salesman, because that's what they ultimately are. He's probably selling supplements. He seems to be like a keto pushing type doctor, which immediately tells you he's clueless. And that's basically it. Fruit is amazing. Eat it up. Eat as much as you care for. Eat more than you care for. Just get as much in as you can, because the number one cause, or even the top 5 causes in the world of human death globally to the population, is not eating enough fruit.